we're going to take a look at some editing techniques to help us keep the length of the project and keep a lot of edits in place while we're making some other edits. Most of the edits that we have learned so far are going to change the duration of the timeline. So you may click on this clip and hit delete. Well, you've ruined everything down the timeline. So what I'm going to show you are a few ways to avoid that and how to do this music project a little bit better. Incidentally, probably don't use any cross dissolves. This is a project I was trying to use some cross dissolves, so I wanted to show you a way to get rid of those real quick. In the timeline index, I can select cross, click on this first one, shift click on that last one, or maybe hit Command A and hit backspace delete, and they're all gone. This is an interesting way to find different video clips, different titles if you wanted to change some titles, and that's a handy little feature called the timeline index. Well, let's say you're making a project and you want to line it up to the music. The one thing you might want to do is select the music and put a marker every beat. Okay, I missed all those because I'm not listening to it. So what I like to do actually is literally listen to the music and just with it selected, hit the M key and make a marker as I'm listening to it. So I can't do that because I have what do you call it? No speakers, because I would get some feedback. So you want to put some markers on there, and you may do it for the whole clip. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete this one because I want to get. Whoops, there you go. See, I realized that I want to actually attach it to this clip. By the way, that's one of my favorite little tips here. You know, this little tail that sort of connects this edit to the primary storyline. If you hold down Control Option and click, you can move what that connects to. So that's actually what I meant to do there. And then I can drag that music back out. So let's say we have, there's not a lot going on in this music, or rather in this video that's going to help us line up to music. But let's say we wanted this part of this clip to line up with this first marker here. So the way that we need to do that is with something called a slip edit, and you get that by selecting the trim tool. This is like your editing tool on steroids. So if I click on that trim tool, I have a lot of different options. I can grab hold of the edit points and I get some different options. I can grab in the middle of the clip and I get some different options. So I'm going to click right underneath that marker and do what's called a slip edit. And as I drag that around, you notice that the end of it doesn't change at all, the ins and out points, but the content in the middle is moving. So that's called a slip edit, and I'm going to need to turn on snapping. In turns on snapping in order to get those markers to click together. Okay, so that's one thing you want to do, is use that slip edit with the trim tool. And you notice that didn't ruin anything else that I had in the timeline. Another edit is to use that trim tool and do what's called a roll edit. Let's say that I have, I'm going to go back to the regular arrow tool. Let's say that I have something right here. I'm going to use that trim tool again. It hits right here. That's exactly where I want it. But I decide that I want to see a little bit more of that clip at the end. Well, I don't want to ruin things that I've already done down the timeline. So I use that same trim tool and I do what's called a roll edit right here, which takes away from this clip on the right and then adds more media to the clip on the left. The incoming clip is a little longer, the outgoing clip is a little shorter. That's called a roll edit. Maybe I want to snap that to there, or maybe I just want to see the action just a little bit longer, or maybe I want to cut down into it a little bit shorter and get into the next clip. So you're going to want to use that trim tool. That is T for trim tool. You can do a slip edit where you change the content. You can do a roll edit where you change two edit points at once. Another thing I want to show you is if you hit Shift Delete, it leaves a gap clip in the middle. So you can come into this gap clip and you could do a replace edit. So if you had something that you wanted to, again, not ruin the timeline as you go down, replace from start, and that'll fill in the gap there. Okay, that's some old footage right there. Okay, so that is a quick example of how you can edit without ruining the timing that you've worked so hard to create. Nice work.